Kids Next Door faced some truly twisted villains, from maniacs who fed children to sharks to one who baked apple crumble pie using crusty pink eye mucus. But none of them held a candle to Father.
I am most unsatisfied. At first, those kids next door were a minor nuisance. That's why I entrusted you with their destruction. But because of your failures, constantly interfere with my schemes to have adults rule the world. Destroy the kids next door, or else!
First and foremost, he was the leader of this League of Lunatics. Even though he wasn't directly involved in most operations, the fact that he led this alliance already made him the most dangerous of them all. To understand Father, let me take you back to when he was a child. His real name was Benedict Wigglestein Uno Jr. He was the brother of Nigel Uno's father, which makes him number one's uncle. His father was Grandfather, a twisted villain who enslaved children, forcing them to work tirelessly in pudding factories. Father was terrified of Grandfather from a young age. Even when Monty Uno discovered the Book of KND and found ways to defeat Grandfather and free the enslaved kids, Benedict refused to join him, paralyzed by fear. Grandfather controlled Benedict through fear, shaping his behavior from childhood. Benedict would later use this same tactic on other kids, as we'll see later on. Eventually, Monty Uno led a successful battle and overthrew Grandfather. While Monty was later decommissioned, Benedict retained his memories. He grew bitter toward his brother for defeating their tyrannical father. He became Father. Father could control fire. He could generate it at will, shape it into physical forms, and remain completely unharmed in extreme heat. His body was cloaked in a suit of living darkness, a shadowy shell formed from his own elemental powers, which allowed him to shift into a pitch-black figure. This darkness was fluid, enabling him to shapeshift into silhouettes of animals or even near-perfect impersonations of other people. Once, he mimicked Number 86's head to trick the kids next door into abandoning a vault. He occasionally demonstrated short-range teleportation, vanishing and reappearing within the same room to block escape routes. On rare occasions, he exhibited telekinesis, once lifting himself and several massive candles during a fight against Number 1. Father could also make copies of himself, creating fake versions to trick and confuse others. Beyond his powers, he possessed a sharp intellect and a deep understanding of KND strategy. Father was also a master manipulator. He concealed his malicious intent with charm and charisma, easily deceiving both adults and children. Despite all this, he had weaknesses. He was extremely vulnerable to cold, once overwhelmed by ice cream and reduced to a shivering mess when it covered his body. Water also disrupted his fire abilities. Psychologically, he was unstable. On one occasion when Number 362 attempted to force-feed him broccoli, he regressed into a terrified child, curling into a ball and begging his father not to make him eat it. And while he was powerful, his egotism and tendency to underestimate his enemies often led to his downfall. Now, abilities and trauma aside, this villain committed some very terrible acts. One of his most sinister was the secret kidnapping of Sector Z, a legendary team of top KND operatives. Using a machine called the Delightfulization Chamber, he erased their identities, reshaped their minds, and turned them into the brainwashed cult-like group known as the Delightful Children from Down the Lane. He adopted them as his own, calling them his children, though they were more like trophies than family. He constantly used them as personal weapons, sending them on missions to destroy Sector V. He pressured them to meet impossible standards, scolded them harshly when they failed, and forced them to participate in missions that endangered their lives. Father despised kids. He called them names like snot-nosed brats and literally tried to bake dozens of children into a cake to serve at a birthday party for the Delightful Children. It wasn't a joke, it wasn't symbolic, he was going to kill kids and feed them to other kids. And it doesn't end there. In Operation Graduates, Father secretly synced the Animalization Ray to the KND's powerful code module, ensuring the weapon only affected official operatives all around the world. The Ray expanded across the planet, enveloping entire tree houses, training camps, and bases, turning kids into animals. This weapon stripped them of their humanity, voice, identity, and will. And if that wasn't enough, in Operation Zero, Father did the unthinkable. He revived Grandfather, the original adult overlord, to help him destroy the K&D once and for all. But Grandfather betrayed him and the other villains, turning every single person who had ever been a kid into zombified senior citizens. For a time, he succeeded. Father had unleashed a doomsday-level threat on the world and nearly wiped out the K&D for good. Father was a tragic product of abuse who chose to spread that abuse. He could have been a hero, like his brother, but instead, he became the embodiment of everything the kids next door fought against.